What if I told you that in 2026, most people will work harder than ever and still fall behind? Not because they aren't talented, not because they're lazy, but because they're playing a game that no longer exists. The rules of money have changed quietly, permanently, and right now there's a gap forming between those who understand it and those who don't even realize it's happening. This isn't another get-rich-quick conversation. This is about clarity, about cutting through the noise, the fake gurus, the endless side hustles, and the confusion that keeps people stuck. Because the truth is simple, there are only a few real ways money is made in the modern world, and once you see them, you can't unsee them. If you stay until the end of this video, you'll understand why effort alone is no longer enough, why some people seem to move forward effortlessly while others feel trapped, and how ordinary individuals are using skills, attention, technology, and ownership to completely change their financial future. You'll start seeing opportunities where you once saw limits and leverage where you once saw only hard work. This message is not for everyone. It's for the ones who are tired of surviving, tired of guessing, and ready to build something that actually lasts, because the next year is going to reward those who are prepared and punish those who stay comfortable. So listen closely, not for motivation, but for direction. What you're about to hear could completely change the way you think about money, work, and what's possible for you starting right now. Leverage beats labor every time because effort has a ceiling, but systems do not. When you trade hours for money, your income is permanently limited by your physical energy, your schedule, and your attention span. No matter how motivated you are, there are only 24 hours in a day, and once those hours are sold, they are gone forever. In 2026, the market does not reward exhaustion, it rewards multiplication. Leverage is the ability to make 1 unit of effort produce 10, 100, or 1,000 units of output. That leverage can come from technology, capital, media, or people, but the principle stays the same: one action, repeated results. Most people confuse hard work with progress. They stay busy, grind longer, and feel productive, yet their financial situation barely changes because every dollar they earn requires another hour of effort. Leverage breaks that cycle. A single piece of content can reach millions. A simple automation can replace weeks of manual work. A digital product can be sold repeatedly without being recreated. This is why two people can work equally hard and end up in completely different financial realities. One is running on effort. The other is running on systems. In 2026, leverage is more accessible than ever. You don't need a factory, a television network, or massive capital. A laptop, an internet connection, and a valuable skill can create global reach. When you build leverage, you shift from being the worker inside the machine to the architect of the machine. Instead of asking how much time something will take, you start asking how many times it can pay you. That mental shift alone separates employees from owners and survivors from builders. Labor pays once. Leverage pays repeatedly. Labor requires presence. Leverage works in your absence. This is why scalable skills outperform traditional jobs, why creators outperform consumers, and why business owners outperform employees over time. The market is ruthless but fair. It pays based on impact, not intention. If your actions only affect one person at a time, your income reflects that. If your actions affect thousands, your income scales accordingly. People who rely only on labor eventually burn out because effort without leverage demands constant input just to maintain the same output. People who build leverage can slow down and still move forward because the system continues producing results even when they step away, even when they sleep, even when they shift focus, even when they decide to build the next asset on top of what already exists. Skills pay faster than degrees because the market rewards usefulness, not credentials. A degree represents time spent, but a skill represents a problem solved. And in 2026, speed matters more than symbolism. Employers, clients, and businesses don't ask how long you studied. They ask what you can produce, improve, or fix right now. A skill creates immediate economic value, while a degree often delays income with the promise of future opportunity that may or may not arrive. Degrees follow a slow, linear path. You invest years before seeing returns, and even then, your income is capped by job roles, salary bands, and institutional limits. Skills, on the other hand, can be learned, applied, and monetized in months or even weeks. When someone learns how to write persuasive copy, automate workflows, close sales, design systems, or edit content that drives attention, they can immediately exchange that ability for money. The feedback loop is fast, and fast feedback accelerates growth. In 2026, information is everywhere. The barrier is no longer access to knowledge, but the willingness to practice and apply it under pressure. Skills are forged through repetition, failure, and real-world application, not exams or theory alone. This is why people with no formal background are outperforming those with impressive certificates. They focused on execution while others focused on validation. Skills also compound. The first client teaches you more than 100 lectures. The second project sharpens your judgment. Over time, your skill becomes reputation, and reputation becomes demand. Demand creates pricing power, and pricing power creates freedom. Degrees rarely compound and this way. They remain static while the world changes around them. Another reason skills pay faster is adaptability. A degree locks you into a predefined lane, but skills are transferable. Sales improves business, marketing amplifies reach, communication builds trust, and problem solving increases value in every industry. When markets shift, skilled individuals pivot. When industries disappear, they reapply their abilities elsewhere. This flexibility is what keeps income alive during uncertainty. The future belongs to those who can learn fast, apply faster, and improve continuously. Skills turn effort into income without waiting for permission. They allow you to start small, earn early, and reinvest in yourself. While degrees may still have their place, they are no longer the fastest route to financial momentum. In a results-driven economy, the person who can deliver value today will always out-earn the person who is still preparing to be chosen tomorrow. Attention is the new currency because money follows focus, and in 2026, focus is scarce. Every platform, every brand, and every business is competing for the same limited resource, human attention. Products don't win because they are better, they win because they are seen, remembered, and trusted. If nobody knows you exist, your skill has no market and your product has no buyers. Visibility has become the gateway to opportunity. In the past, distribution was expensive and controlled by a few gatekeepers. Today, anyone we teach a phone can reach millions, but that access comes with competition. This is why attention now functions like currency. It can be earned, invested, grown, and converted. Those who understand how to capture attention ethically don't chase customers, customers find them. When people consistently listen to you, follow you, and engage with your ideas, trust is formed, and trust always precedes transactions. Attention alone is not enough. What matters is the quality of attention. Viral moments without substance fade quickly, but consistent value builds an audience that listens when you speak and acts when you offer something. In 2026, personal brands outperform faceless companies because people buy from those they feel connected to. When your ideas help, educate, or inspire, your audience begins to associate your presence with value. That association becomes leverage. The most powerful part of attention is its compounding nature. One piece of content leads to another. One follower becomes a referral. One message spreads across platforms without additional effort. Over time, attention reduces the cost of everything. Marketing becomes easier, sales conversations shorten, and opportunities arrive without outreach. This is why creators, educators, and thought leaders can launch products faster and scale businesses with less friction. Those who ignore attention are forced to compete on price, hours, or effort. Those who own attention compete on ideas and impact. In a crowded market, attention differentiates identical products and elevates average skills into premium positioning. It turns ordinary offers into must-have solutions simply because people are already listening. In 2026, learning how to communicate clearly, tell compelling stories, and show up consistently is no longer optional. Attention is not about being loud, it's about being relevant. When you control attention, you control access to opportunity, influence over decisions, and the direction of demand, and those who master this will never struggle to monetize value again. AI is not taking jobs, it is replacing the unskilled, and that distinction matters more than most people realize. Technology has always eliminated tasks, not ambition, and in 2026, the dividing line is no longer education or experience, it is usefulness. People who rely on repetitive, low-leverage tasks without understanding the system behind them are the most vulnerable, while those who can think, decide, adapt, and apply tools intelligently are becoming more valuable than ever. AI doesn't remove opportunity, it exposes dependency. The mistake many people make is treating AI as a competitor instead of a multiplier. When someone refuses to learn how AI works, they are choosing to compete manually against machines that operate faster, cheaper, and without fatigue. That is not a fair fight. But when someone learns how to guide AI, train it, prompt it, and integrate it into workflows, their output increases dramatically. That person can now do the work of 10, not because they work harder, but because they work smarter. In 2026, value comes from judgment, context, and direction. AI can generate options, but it cannot decide what matters most. It can write, but it cannot understand nuance without guidance. It can analyze data, but it cannot set meaningful goals. The people who earn the most are those who know what to ask, what to ignore, and what to execute. Skill is no longer about doing the task, it is about orchestrating the outcome. Unskilled work is defined by replaceability. If your role requires no thinking, no decision-making, and no creativity, automation is inevitable. Skilled work evolves. A marketer who understands. Strategy uses AI to test faster. A developer uses AI to build quicker. A consultant uses AI to deliver insights at scale. Their value increases because AI removes friction, not relevance. The fear around AI comes from standing still while the world moves forward. Those who resist learning new tools experience shrinking opportunity. Those who embrace them experience expansion. Every major shift rewards the adaptable and punishes the rigid. This one is no different. AI is simply accelerating what has always been true. The market pays for impact, not effort. In this new economy, learning how to work with intelligent systems is no longer optional. It is the baseline. The winners will not be the ones who avoid change, but the ones who integrate it so deeply into their skill set that their value becomes impossible to ignore. Impossible to replace, and impossible to compete with using effort alone. Ownership wins and rent loses because control determines outcomes. When you rent your time, your platform, or your ideas, you are always operating under someone else's rules. Your income is limited by decisions you don't make, algorithms you don't control, and ceilings you didn't choose. In 2026, the biggest financial gap is not between hard workers and lazy ones, but between those who own assets and those who only provide labor. Renting feels safe because it offers predictability. A salary, a contract, or a fixed rate creates the illusion of stability, but that stability disappears the moment the system changes. Ownership, on the other hand, feels risky at first because it demands responsibility. You don't just show up, you decide. You don't just complete tasks, you build structures. Over time, that responsibility turns into leverage, and leverage turns into freedom. Ownership means having equity in the outcome. It means owning a product instead of just selling it, owning an audience instead of borrowing one, owning data instead of handing it away, and owning distribution instead of depending on permission. When you own something, every improvement compounds in your favor. When you rent, every improvement benefits the owner, not you. This is why two people can work on the same project and end up with completely different financial results based solely on what they own. In 2026, ownership is more accessible than ever. You don't need factories or massive capital. You can own digital products, media brands, communities, software, or intellectual property. Even partial ownership changes the game. Revenue sharing, equity deals, and long-term partnerships outperform fixed fees because they align effort with upside. Instead of asking how much you get paid today, you start asking how much this can be worth tomorrow. People who avoid ownership often do so because they fear uncertainty. But uncertainty exists either way. Renting exposes you to decisions made by others. Ownership exposes you to your own decisions. One limits growth, the other demands growth. The market rewards those willing to carry that weight because they are creating value that lasts beyond the moment. The shift from renter to owner doesn't happen overnight. It begins with thinking long-term, choosing scalable paths, and trading short-term comfort for long-term control. Those who own assets build momentum that continues without constant effort, while those who rent must continuously restart the cycle. In the end, wealth is not about how much you earn, but how much of the system you control, because control is what turns income into independence. As we move into 2026, the rules of money are no longer hidden, they are simply ignored. Income no longer belongs to those who wait, complain, or stay comfortable. It belongs to those who understand leverage over labor. Skills over titles, attention over obscurity, adaptation over resistance, and ownership over dependency. These are not trends, they are foundations. When you build on them, your income stops being fragile and starts becoming intentional. The future will not reward the busiest people. It will reward the most decisive. The people who choose one path, commit fully, and build patiently will separate themselves from the noise. Making money in 2026 is not about luck or timing. It is about positioning. When you learn valuable skills, earn attention through service, use technology as a tool instead of a threat, and own what you create, you stop chasing opportunities and start attracting them. This is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right things consistently. The world will continue to change, but the principles that create wealth remain the same. Those who apply them will grow stronger with every shift, while those who ignore them will feel left behind. The choice is no longer unclear, it is simply uncomfortable, and growth has always lived there. Good luck and thank you message. Thank you for giving your time, your focus, and your attention today. Time is the most valuable asset you own, and choosing to invest it in growth already puts you ahead of the majority. Whatever path you choose next, commit to it fully, stay disciplined when motivation fades, and trust the process when results take time. Good luck on your journey forward. Build with intention, move with courage, and remember that the future belongs to those who take responsibility for creating it.